me some kind of weird message, but then it
Yeah,
usually
there it is.
doesn't come through. Yeah.
Like that old TV show Police Squad at the end where everybody just like freezes in place. Yeah, so it's supposed to be the end. And somebody comes walking through and like, looking at everybody trying to figure out why they're all stopped.
You saw it go through, Corey?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all set.
Okay. Okay. Good. Well, welcome to Quantum Leap, folks. My name's David Kirsten. I'm a co-host here with Cory Nod, and Corey, if you don't mind introducing yourself and just telling us what you do.
Yeah, I am Cory Knott, co-owner of Takeaway Coaching, and I do coaching primarily for business partnerships and other people in business who need to get along better.
Great. And yeah, me and my colleague, we look forward to doing a little seminar with you in November. I believe we'll talk about that hopefully this week or soon. And I'm actually a video producer and I specialize in video for business. And I actually went and visited Randy Lyman's chapter not too long ago, which is a great BNI chapter. As a little aside, I'll have to put a link to your chapter, Randy, because you guys have a unique lunch meeting and Corey's familiar with that chapter as well, longtime Oakland chapter, BNI Platinum. But that's just an aside. We're going to get right to our guest today. Unless Corey had another check in, you're free to do a check in, Corey. But Randy is a very knowledgeable marketer. I remember he presented when I visited a few weeks ago, and he gave this great presentation that a lot of people were like, "Well, I don't have that, but I need that. I don't have that, but I need that." So he really does kind of the low hanging fruit of search engine optimization and business profiles for businesses. And he also does a lot of other things that I'm not mentioning, but that's kind of what caught my eye about getting him on to talk about what he does. But Randy, if you don't mind just telling us a little bit about your story and kind of where you've been with your business and kind of what you do now in terms of those offerings for business owners here in the East Bay.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Well, my first of all, I got my first computer back in 1986. It was a Mac 512, and I was a desktop publisher, and I've been working in online, or I should say, digital communications, ever since then, in a variety of capacities. And so, I bring all that together into my, it's hardly new anymore. My agency, Lakeshore Local SEO. It's a digital marketing agency that's focused specifically on search engine optimization for local businesses. So not Amazon, not anything that's online or on Shopify, but I mean brick and mortar retail businesses, service professionals, or service area businesses like a house painter where you don't go to them, they go to you. And it's a particular kind of search engine optimization. I started it during the pandemic. I guess I would say I've been sort of leading up to it unknowingly for many years before that. But we all saw during the pandemic what happened when the businesses in our neighborhoods were gone. And those that remained, we saw how they helped us get by. They're just real foundations of our communities, whether it's just within your own neighborhood or within your city or wherever. Local businesses are just critical to our lives and the quality of life. And there's a lot of digital marketing agencies out there, but very few that actually specialize in local search. Everybody says they offer it, but it's all very general. Very few local SEO agencies. And so I've started that in 2022, I guess, was when I first launched the business, and I've been working on that ever since.
Okay, great. And what would you say are some common errors or omissions in with regard to business profiles and, really anything kind of search engine related or Google pages or there's a lot of things here that people don't even know about that it exists. For example, so what do you see your standard business? What issues do they have?
Well, I would say that the two biggest mistakes that local business owners make, or the I don't want to say mistakes. I'll say the two biggest shortcomings I see when a local business owner comes to me is one, they've got a Google business profile, um, and they've got a few basic things, but it's not fully optimized. They don't do everything with it that they could. Your Google business profile is basically your shop window to the world. It's what people see as they're passing by. And think about, if you own a retail shop, would you just put a couple items in your window and hope people would come in? No, you would make it look good. You would highlight your sales. You would highlight your specials, your particular products. That's what your Google business profile does, but people don't really utilize it to the degree that it needs to. And it is the single most important factor in showing up in local search results. Nearly half, 46% of all Google searches are for people looking for something in their area. And so your Google business profile, that's the number one most important thing that you can do in local marketing. And most businesses that I talk to, they have it, but they only have the bare bones. And the second most common shortcoming I see is that they've got their business website, and maybe the website looks great and it's got all kinds of good things, but it turns out that it's not really optimized for local search. When Google detects that someone is looking for something local, it employs a different algorithm. It's not looking for expertise and authority and trustworthiness anymore. It's looking for how close you are and how relevant you are. And so it's a completely different algorithm. And so your website needs to be optimized a little bit differently than it would be. And so those are two of the many services that I uh, attempt to address with local businesses, including online reviews. Those are not necessarily so important for rankings, but for conversions. Look, when you're looking for a business, what do? You read the reviews and you see how good the reviews are, and that helps you decide which among many businesses that you're going to choose. And then citations or business directory listings. Those are the other sort of bedrock of local SEO. And those businesses that have citations or directory listings, they tend to have some, but not enough, or they don't have any. So that's another thing that I help business owners with.
Okay, great. Yeah, well, I know a lot of people need that, and I look forward to kind of referring you and kind of breaking the ice with some people who need to have this conversation. But one thing I know we talked about a few weeks ago was that you were maybe having a mastermind or some type of workshop, so people could come and hear more about this, and then maybe get in touch with you if it's something they need. Is that still going on?
Well, I just had the webinar last week on Wednesday. I will do it again, and it'll be probably in January, and it'll be available as an evergreen webinar as well. But it's all about one of the things that I just mentioned about optimizing your website for local search. I had a number of business owners come to me and they go, "Oh, I got a brand new website. My designer says it's optimized for SEO." And yeah, it kind of is, but it's missing some critical elements that are necessary for local. So I did a webinar that was for business owners and website developers and designers on what needs to be done to optimize a local business website properly for local search. So yes, that is done now. I will be doing it again, and it'll be available sort of as an evergreen webinar after that.
Okay, great. And we can connect about it, but one thing I'd like to do is maybe have you do a little preview of that. It's next time you come on, we'll often have like where you present for 5 or 10 minutes, because I think this issue is so important that we'll talk about that for your next appearance. And if it's not in time for January, it can showcase that material. But I really feel like what you offer is so much in need right now, and kind of rare that people are covering all their bases there. But I'm going to turn it over to Cory for any comments he has in the second part of the interview.
I got that. All right. So Randy, I guess we always ask, what is your why? How is it that you got into this? What drives you to do this kind of thing for people?
As far as my why for doing this is to support local businesses. I love local businesses. When I moved into my apartment, I got one of my top 5 like dream situations of having a coffee house at the end of my block. I loved it. Unfortunately, they went out of business during the pandemic, and my quality of life changed dramatically after that. It was sort of a home away from home, but it's a love of local businesses. And yeah, sure, I shop at chains too, but you know, the ones that are they're specific to the neighborhood, that's what really gives it character. And that goes way back to the 90s when I was a reporter for the Bay Guardian, and I was a consumer affairs reporter, and I did a lot of, we were very much about supporting local businesses. And so I really got into uh that was when I first got exposed to the idea of local businesses as a cause, really,
Hmm.
as a because it is a cause worthy of supporting, and we see the struggles. Before that, no, I should say before that, um, I got exposed to the idea of supporting local businesses through, well, okay, a girlfriend at the time who was a very great supporter of local businesses. She and I were not right for each other. Let's just say we used to get into fights over the stupidest little things. But to her credit, she was a strong supporter of shopping locally at locally owned businesses. And that just kind of stuck with me. That's maybe the one good thing I took out of that relationship, but uh, it has lasted with me for all these years. But yeah, supporting local businesses, you know, I've always been a cause-driven person. You know, I've always wanted to make the world a better place. And it, you know, took me, I guess, until that time for about the last 35 years or so, is I began to see local business as a cause.
Hmm.
And that's you know, and again, we all saw the importance of that cause during the pandemic. And so that's why I decided specifically to start a local SEO agency and not just a general SEO agency or digital marketing agency.
Right. Yeah, you might enjoy Seth Godin's fairly new book, We Are All Weird, something like that. Which is really about how people are kind of escaping the grip of mass marketing. Um, so my wild card question then is, what would you say is going on with the change with, Google market share, search share isn't slipping dramatically, but it is slipping. I mean, and when things start to slip, it could be tumbling because they've done some missteps, and so some of the other search engines are looking to step up. And I will admit to using Bing more than I used to. Never really cared for it, and Yahoo would always give me issues, but it seems to come up more, especially with 365 and Copilot and all that. So do you see more need for SEO across the
Well,
search engine?
the principles apply. The principles of local search engine optimization apply regardless of which browser. Now, it's true that Google has 92% of the search
90%
results.
now. So
Oh, okay. See,
yeah,
exactly. It's 90%, which is still most of it.
right,
But let me tell you something. You know, people who do what I do, I have never seen such a love-hate relationship with Google. You know, we hate it and we love it as our livelihoods depend on it. But keep in mind, Google is a business, and its business is the search engine's results page. And
right,
it optimizes those for its own profit. There's a lot of changes going on in the world of search that are not necessarily to the benefit of business owners. And so I think that in doing that, they've opened up a opportunity for others, and you know, as in any marketing, it's you want to diversify your you know, where you're appearing in search, or you
right.
know, in anything. And I think it's a good thing. In particular, you know, I think the one to look out for in the future is Apple.
Hmm.
Apple Maps has, for businesses, has one particular drawback in that if you have a service area business, like you
Hmm.
go out to pay, you cannot actually have an account on Apple Maps, what they're calling Apple Business Connect. You can do that on Bing and on Google, but not yet on Apple. But Apple is being really smart. Is, you know, they're looking at the young audience, most of which have iPhones, and they're on TikTok, so they're getting recommendations from people on TikTok. And then where did they go? They go to Apple Maps to get there.
Right,
Right. And so Apple is basically capturing this young market through both their hardware and their software. And that's going to, 10 years from now, Google's 90% is going to be down to 75%. And Apple is going to take a lot of it. And so optimizing, and that's something that I also offer and actually really make a point of in my services, is to diversify where you're appearing. You know,
right.
places like Yelp and Bing and Apple Maps and Facebook, whatever you may think of them, and all these These are all alternate avenues. Google will probably remain the dominant player for a long time, but I think it's actually smart to not put all of your investment into just satisfying Google.
Yeah, I saw a presentation from a marketer that Facebook is actually starting to capture a lot of young people again. They seem to be signing up in droves really to stay connected with the family and other things that it just seems to have reattracted them. It's still a very powerful engine. We may not see as many people like sharing all their stuff on there, but there's a lot of groups, and I know I'm in a lot of. I don't. I see more groups than I see people, and it's so there's definitely a powerful thing going on there. But the age group that Facebook is hitting is actually growing younger.
Yeah, and
Maybe because of phones, yeah,
Google has, um, their motto is like, we don't care because we don't have to,
right.
in a lot of ways. And it's so much depends on them, so that when they change their algorithm or change the way they do things or change, how the search engine results page, like zero click search is the other thing. And AI,
Right,
these AI overviews may be great in a certain sense, but they're making it so that you can get all the information you need on the search engine results page and don't have to click through to the business, yet they're making money off of the business's content.
right,
So, how is that good for business? It's for
right.
business, it's not. And so they're actually sort of creating the opportunities themselves for their competitors.
Okay, well, it's good to see how the market will shape up. So who is your ideal client then?
My ideal client, I was going to say, a business with multiple locations or this kind of business or that, but actually my ideal client is a local business of any size that just wants to take this seriously, that
Hmm,
wants to invest. And you don't have to invest tons of money in local search marketing or local search engine optimization, but you want to take it seriously. This is um, the primary way that local businesses get found online. Like I said, 46% of all searches are with local intent. Your Google business profile is what turns up first, right? That map pack, right? All that information that shows up on a Google search for a local search is, most of it is stuff that comes from your Google business profile. And it's your shop window to the world. And a lot of businesses, I think I read, only like 55 or 60% of local businesses even have one or take advantage of it. So it gives you a tremendous advantage in local search to have your business profile not only set up, but fully optimized with all the stuff that you can do. And it doesn't have to be expensive to do it.
right. Okay,
Did I answer your question? I
that
kind of
answers
went
the questions.
tangent and I forgot what I
Yeah.
was trying to say.
Yeah,
Easy enough. Ideal clients, but you said it. Yeah. People
Okay.
take it seriously. I think that's important.
Yeah, take it seriously.
Yeah.
I have a little wild card question because it was something that actually I just noticed the other day about a business owner who was in the fitness field, and they had like six great blog articles on their website, and these were really good blogs. They were kind of maybe not pretty conversational, but I thought that's kind of a no-brainer for businesses to do, especially certain businesses. But does that, and I know you used to do a lot of blogging, you actually were releasing a book and through blogs, but now how important is it to optimize that, or would you recommend, a blog as a way to drive search engine optimization? And again, probably a lot of people don't have it optimized, I would think.
Actually, it is very important. And thing is, most people, let alone most business owners, don't want to have to deal with that, because look, it is work and commitment to put out a blog, to post, even if it's once a month, once a week, whatever. And people don't want to write, or what I have often found is people don't want to write and they don't want to pay somebody to do it, or they want to pay someone but they don't want to spend the money. But it's important, your website is still a critical part of local search. It's still responsible. It's still the primary factor in your organic rankings, the typical blue links that we're all familiar with. But it's also the second most important factor in your local rankings, because when Google's looking for something, when you're looking for something local and Google's looking for who to show in the results, it's still looking at your blog for your location to make sure it's relevant, make sure you actually offer the kind of products and services that people are looking for. And of course now with AI writing, it's become, I don't want to say easier to write a blog, blog post or keep your content going, but certainly does facilitate. I mean, one can love and hate AI, right? I personally have mixed feelings about it too. But in terms of generating the kind of content that that you want, it's a really important and overlooked factor that people just kind of don't want to deal with because it is a commitment and it's a lot of work, and they just rather be, running their business. But it's highly overlooked as for in local terms of its importance for local search. So I definitely recommend doing something. And that's another thing. I've recently expanded my services to a lot of advanced services that include keyword research, um, content creation, as well as a number of other things.
Yeah, great. And we'll keep in touch about that January event. I'd love to help you promote this more. And I was actually, just an aside, I read this great article about one of the kind of early guys on AI, and it was in the Wall Street Journal over the weekend. He was saying he didn't think AI was going to be as smart as everybody says it's going to be. So it is kind of, the jury's still out about, how much it's going to actually take over. And I know Corey has a real interest in the AI, but yeah, yeah,
Well, at this point, it's reality,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, just like so many other things. And it offers great benefits. It can also obviously be greatly misused and have its very dangerous side. Whenever people talk about AI, I'm always thinking of the Age of Ultron, right, the Marvel movie, right, where it confuses world peace with exterminating humankind, right? And things like Chat GPT, they say, oh, oh, we built in safeguards against that. And it's like, okay, maybe they have, but the other guy hasn't. Um,
Yeah.
and then at the same time, it's an extremely useful tool. And I use it sometimes for just generating a rough draft of a blog post or an article. That's where its real use is. Don't ever rely on AI as the end all and be all, the final product. That'll actually hurt you in the long run. But it's great to get things started, you know.
Yeah.
great. Well, we're at time here. I'm going to put that link for your local search report that Randy offers. Do get in touch with him if you're a local business owner wanting to get started optimizing your website. And we look forward to having you back at some point, Randy, to keep this conversation going. And
Um, Yeah, no, I'll look forward to it. And if I can just add quickly in closing, in January also, I will be publishing an ebook that I've co-written with another agency owner that I work with. It's called Start with Keywords, and it's about doing keyword research
Mm,
and really simplifying the entire process. The word research makes it sound so scary, but it's not like that. It's really just sort of like playing the game of Jeopardy. Is your business is the answer? What questions are people asking to find the things that you offer? And that's really what keyword research is. So that'll be another thing in January that we'll be launching that.
excellent. Well, thanks for the heads up. And folks, we are at time. Thanks for coming on, everyone, and Corey for the great conversation, Randy. And we'll see you all at the, except for Randy, we have one more guest coming on at 11 a.m. So we'll see you soon. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks very much.